What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Jack Ramsays, Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague, and the lovely, the illustrious, the wonderful, and the svelte Ian Karmel, Beaverton's own.
Hello. Beaverton's finest, the pride of the Pacific Northwest. Beaverton, Oregon, top of the food chain where champions are born.
It's true. That's what we make now.
That's right.
We have to find the next heir.
It's a champion machine. We need to find the next Beaverton great.
Do we need to have like a Beaverton championship belt?
I think we should have a Beaverton championship
Just
belt.
kind of pass it down from generations?
I think we should have America's Next Top Beavertonian, and we should have like a big talent show. And we see who comes out of Beaverton.
Ian and I are live from the Blue Wire Studios at the Wynn Casino here in lovely, not lovely, but very hot Las Vegas for Summer League.
It's hotter than it's hot. Ooh, I almost cussed. I mean, that's how hot it is.
But the mic does go out there.
I feel bad. We're in like a fish tank studio, and there's children walking by.
Yeah,
so I feel like I should not cuss.
A large amount of people.
Yeah.
Brandon Sprague is remote back in Portland. Summer League. We're recording this Sunday afternoon at noon, so the Blazers have not played their second game. Do you want to do the fun stuff first, or do you want to do the ugly stuff?
Let's go fun. Let's start fun.
Okay, let's start fun.
Yeah. Let's start fun.
Let's go this way. What has been your initial takeaway reaction of number 3 overall pick, Scoot Henderson?
I'm in love.
Yeah,
I'm in love. I mean, it's we have to kind of talk about the ugly stuff to talk about the fun stuff. So, I mean, we got so distracted by like the Damian Lillard trade demand and how like ugly that's gotten and everything that you kind of forgot that you had Scoot on the team. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, so we got so caught up in it, and then like watching that first Summer League game, you're like, oh my God, this is going to be so fun. And you start to think about what ideally the next like 10, 11, 12 years are going to be like until he forces a trade, you know?
the Trailblazer rite of passage?
To the Vegas team, like at that point, 10 years from now. But, dude, he's amazing. He's so fast, so springy. He's good on defense. He like sticks on people. Mm-hmm. It's kind of I've loved watching Damian Lillard, but it's like a different experience than like a Damian Lillard point guard experience, and that's been kind of fun.
And that's the thing is, we'll dive into the Dame stuff. It's been unfortunate that the two events can't be separated.
I know,
right?
They're going to be inextricably linked forever.
And I've had so many fans come up to me like, I really want to root for Scoot, but I feel like I can't.
Right.
And it's like, I feel like that's kind of dampening some of the reaction. Brandon, like, what have you? Since you're not Vegas pilled and down here in the midst of it, what has it been for you just kind of watching it from afar?
By the way, if you want to get Vegas pilled, there's people walking around every casino who will walk up to you and offer that.
Well, thanks for highlighting how poor I am because I'm not there. Ian, thanks for hopping on, man. As the lone East Side guy on the podcast, I guess I'll have to represent extra hard today. The story you just shared is kind of weird to me. Like, the Dame stuff, to me, has always been separate of Scoot, Shaden in the future, right? Like, how we feel about Dame wanting out is something we're used to with past stars. So to hear, like, fans saying, I'm not sure if I should be happy, I should root, like, why would you not? We got a dude that we brought from the 70s. We morphed Donovan Mitchell with Damian Lillard's DNA, and we have a basketball player now. Like, why would we not be excited for what he was? I think that's a ridiculous take.
I think Blazers fans, there's like a big segment of Blazers fans, and I love them, and I'm also kind of one of them, where we have this like very unhealthy parasocial relationship to the players on the team. Well, there's the doomers, but there's also the I'm like, I love these people the way I love my family, and they probably care about me too. You know what I mean? Like, you suspect it on some level. And so we get like overly attached to people. So I kind of think those people where it's like the way they feel about Scoot is like it's their dad's new wife.
Yeah. Like,
who's really nice.
You're like, I want to love her.
I want to love her, but I feel like I'm betraying my mother. Like, it's that kind of feeling. Like, it's that psychological for people.
No, I genuinely think that's the thing is I've run into so many people down here that have had like that, some version of that sentiment. And it's been such a unique thing. And somebody asked me, the DM or something like that about a week ago, have you allowed yourself to like dive into like really studying the kids?
Yeah.
And I haven't.
Yeah.
I just haven't. And that's because I'm focused on the resolution of everything else.
Right. We've been stuck between two eras, and now that like ending is taking like a little bit longer than we wanted. You know, it's you want one of those clean breaks. You want the Deron Williams, like, you know what I mean?
be done with it.
Gone, and the way like the Colts left Baltimore. You know what I mean? You want that kind of thing where you wake up in the morning.
The guts out of a city.
You want like Dame's gone? Like that's what you want. Like you want to find out when you wake up in the morning, and not this like long, strung out, like ugly Hollywood divorce style.
The 16 trips to the lawyer fighting over the airline miles.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's like what it's turning into, and it is distracting us from like this amazing team we still have. I forgot the other day I was talking. I think I was doing another podcast, which was worse and way worse than this one.
Definitely not.
It was way worse than this one. But I forgot Ant was on the team because I was so hung up on the Dame situation. And then I started reminding myself like who we still have. And I'm like, oh, I still really love this team. Like it's going to suck to lose Dame, but this is still like a really fun team to root for. The dude's name is Scoot. His name is Scoot.
Yeah.
His name is Scoot. It's like that's a nickname that you could have had in the 1970s. You know what I mean? We have a 1970s style NBA Street point guard. They need to bring back NBA Street just so they can put Scoot on the cover of that game.
And still to this day, I don't think anybody knows his first name.
Sterling.
See, you actually know.
Yeah.
Look at you doing the research.
Yeah. Sterling.
Also a great name.
But Danny,
Also a great name.
I think Danny and Ian, you guys are kind of hitting on something though. Like you said, Vegas pilled. I kind of think that's what it is because I've had almost the exact opposite reaction since that game. Like I missed that game live. I caught it on the DVR, and I had 2 group chats going, and all people were talking about was, what's he going to average? How good are they going to be year one? What's this going to look like once Shaden and him kind of get out there for 20, 25 games?
Yeah.
And it's not that they don't care about Dame being traded. It's still a massive storyline, but I think that Summer League game, and I know we don't get him today against the Spurs, but I almost think like him and Shaden playing was such a welcome distraction for so many Blazers fans in the midst of this rumor mill, garbage, trash NBA offseason stuff that it's like it was a reprieve for a lot of people up here. So maybe it's a Vegas thing. Maybe there's more people like you guys up here than I think, but all my group chats were talking about was Scoot this, Scoot that, and I think it was a nice kind of release away from the Dame team saga that's going on.
We'll come back to some more of the Scoot stuff, but you brought up the other side of this, Scoot and Shaden. That's the future of the franchise. And as things sit right now, Shaden's going to play today against Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
And
he's going to go get one.
I have a reeling suspicion that'll be it.
For his Summer League
experience?
I
think he's done. It was fun to watch him get out there, and we had less than 6 minutes of him last year. 5 minutes and 36 seconds before he separated his shoulder.
Right.
And it was like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
And that was the different level of fear. And we did get that with Scoot a little bit here in game one. I will say this. I have not talked to the team doctors or anything like just this is me being the bad doctor.
This is you being a medical professional.
Yes.
In your medical professional opinion.
In my professional opinion, if this was a regular season game, he would go.
That's what it seems like. They got to be extra. I mean, they're going to be extra careful. What do you really gain by it?
Look,
you know what I mean?
I bet you the league would have loved to have Scoot versus Wemby.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably like right on the edge of like, we probably just let's play this smartly.
Adam Silver's in the locker room giving him a shoulder rub right now, just being like, "You sure you don't feel like getting
just
out
like
there?"
we would love. ESPN would love to have this. We can go down that lane. But Shaden went out there, kind of slow played the initial part of the game. Scoot took center stage. Chauncey Billups said after the game, he thought Scoot kind of took it by the reins, but Shaden did something that I have not seen him do, and it's not dunk on somebody. We've seen him dunk on people 1,000 times and do things that blow your mind. I saw a kid who showed almost no emotion last year lose his bleeping mind.
Yeah.
Over and so I'm sitting baseline on the second half. They're coming that direction. And every single time he went to the rim, drew a foul, dunked on somebody, finished over somebody, chased down block, he's flexing, he's barking, he's just animated.
Yeah.
And Brandon will love this because this plays into his baby Kobe mindset, his mantra. I'll be bluntly honest. I didn't think he had this in him.
Yeah.
And so seeing that materialize after a year, like you've got to get excited about that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. He's got that dog in him, right? That's what
Which I think everybody kind of questioned because he's a quiet kid.
I mean, it's got to be he is a quiet kid. Yeah, last season, I mean, even like post-game interviews, stuff like that, they were like 1-word, 2-word answers, very staid, very like,
I'll say it objectively. Shaden is terrible at media.
He was bad, but he's getting better. He's already better at media too.
He just didn't have practice. Brandon, like when you watch that game back, you said you didn't watch it live, which I think sometimes helps to just kind of not be in the moment.
From it. Well, watching in the moment, when Shaden hit that dunk, I like almost burnt my shirt because I put my iron down. I was ironing watching the game. He hit that dunk, and I just had to walk around the hotel room because I just like there was so much energy in my body after watching him like catch a body like that.
Media, to be entirely fair, the media discourse kind of went out the window.
Yeah,
like everybody kind of just chirped, loud yelps from all of the media.
The kind of dunk that makes people forget their professionalism.
Yeah, it's like, where are we going with this? Yeah. When you're watching that, Brandon, when
Zach Lowe was up, Harlem shaking and stuff, like it was crazy. Yeah.
When you watch this back live or not live, Brandon, and you kind of see this stuff happen with the benefit of hindsight. I don't know if you were checking Twitter or anything during the game, but you're watching Shea kind of work his way into the game and look so much more comfortable than we saw him going into last season. Like, what do you kind of take away from that?
We got two dogs. I don't need to see much more than what I saw from Scoot to know he is a dog. Mm-hmm. And then for Shaden to kind of show the emotion of that was awesome. I didn't choose to not watch this live. I was actually really bummed. I just happened to schedule a vasectomy appointment right at like 5 o'clock.
There you go.
So I'm catching this. I'm home on the couch, and I've got peas on my nuts as this dude's going up and dunking on somebody. I had to do everything I could to not get up, not go crazy. Because Danny, it wasn't just that he showed emotion. He dunked on somebody. We've seen his highlights.
Yeah.
I thought in the first half, he caught a pass long on the wing, took a side dribble, step back three, nothing but net. And the second half, he dunks on somebody. Like, he just showed progressions to me of something I want to see in a second-year guy who's going to be paired with an all-world, athletic, kind of tough-minded point guard. And so, for me, it was kind of the whole package of the game. It was not lacking in confidence. It was shooting the three ball over settling for a mid-range, and it was taking it to the rim to finish on somebody and let them know about it. So it was kind of the all-exclusive thing of what he gave us in that game. I think that gets me and a lot of people excited because that's the future. The future is clearly Scoot and Shaden, and it's going to be what steps is Shaden going to take? It's not just about can Scoot be Rookie of the Year. It's going to be can Shaden show some stuff to take this and how we feel today, make us feel even stronger about it going into the midway point and by the end of this coming season. So I wanted to see a lot of growth from him, and I thought he showed some things in the growth department, both with his skill set and just kind of having that mentality that you want to see a guy like him have.
So I'm going to delay the inevitable here, and instead of going down the path that nobody really wants to go down, because listen, I don't know about you. Yeah. We were out talking after the show last night, and I don't know if you saw literally every single person that came up to me and said, "So what's going to happen with Dame?"
Yeah, everybody.
That has been the entirety of my experience in Las Vegas.
I was one of those people. Even I was like, "So why? I heard the trade is in. What's going on?"
Like I'm
cutting the line of people that talk to Danny. And like, hey, what is going to happen with Dame? Though?
And it's like I want to enjoy the other stuff too. And this seems so small and so trite, but one of my favorite things about Summer League so far has been Ibu Baji.
Oh yeah,
because he was like this secret around the Blazers, like this enormous 7'1", 7'6" wingspan, incredibly long, graceful, athletic dude who you're like, I wonder what they have there.
Yeah. And
he's this wonderful human being. He's so nice. He's so kind. And he just kind of bummed knee there, just kind of trying to work him through, get him ready to be a pro.
Yeah.
And it was one of the things I was most excited to see him do. And they get out there early in the game, and probably halfway through the first quarter, Amen Thompson kind of gets free and drives baseline. And Jabari Walker's on the backside of the play, and I hear him yell, "Go get that shit, Baji." And Baji goes up and pins Amen Thompson's shot on the backboard. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I've seen what I've needed to see. When you see like young, for me, one of my favorite things about the NBA is young guys.
Yeah,
watching
absolutely.
them develop, figuring stuff out. When you see a guy like that, not even just that moment, when you see like a young guy get those opportunities, is that like a something? Is there something about that part of the game that you're just like, that's cool?
I mean, that's the part of it is like watching that person live their dream out,
right,
like in real time, which is amazing. Like, oh, this guy on one of the bigger stages he's been on so far in his career, even if it is just Summer League, just like blocked. The
number 4 overall,
number 4 overall pick shot, like going to the rim, the guy who like people are there to see. And he gets to say, no, I'm here too. Yeah. And that's amazing. But then also just as a fan, like watching the young players, it's one of like the two, I mean, there's many different joys, but like there's two ways you can like kind of like enjoy watching basketball, right? One is watching your team be dominant. And then the other is to watch a bunch of young players be good and make these steps. And then you get to have the potential. You get to like lay in bed at night.
The hopium, as the kids like to say.
The hopium, like what is this going to be? What are they going to be? What if Ibu Baji ends up being like the exact center we needed? You know what I mean? Like what if like his 7'6" wingspan means he can block shots and he can like we have somebody to throw Wemby over the next 10 years. And you start like getting your thoughts like get away from.
Can we start the Wemby stopper now?
Yeah. Is Wemby just going to be like a part of Ibu Baji's Wikipedia page? You know what I mean? Like, is that his destiny? You start to like get excited about it. And now we're there. That's what's so nice. I mean, now
we've gone full circle. Now we've gone away from Doomer Blazers to this is Blazers fandom boiled down to its essence.
Yeah. We got the next Giannis. He's in-house. And I hear he loves oat milk lattes, so he's going to stay in Portland, this guy.
It's going to be great for him. Brandon, you and I have talked about Baji for the last 6 months, and I kind of said, hey, Summer League, that's when they're going to roll him out there. When you get to see him out there, what's your kind of initial reaction takeaway from him?
Big body, impressive. I want to see what he does against Wemby so bad. I know recording this and some people hear it after the Wemby game, so we'll see. I want to hit on something Ian kind of brought up there, and it sounds kind of, I don't know if you say it sounds dark or just kind of depressing in some ways, but what Ian's talking about, I think, is an important part of where the Blazers are at right now. Right? It's sad that they're going to lose Dame, right? That's inevitable. He wants to go elsewhere and try to win. But in a way, I think watching that first Summer League game for me, Danny, and I don't know, Ian, if you felt this way at all, but like you're kind of reminded and you get a bit of a deep breath of, I don't have to worry about title expectations. I don't have to worry about, oh, man, you got to get past round 1 or it's a failure. Oh, man, all you do is get to round 2 and it's a failure. And I know the NBA Cup just got released and the Blazers probably won't win anything like that this year, but it's a reminder watching that Summer League game of now they're kind of at this point where we just get to watch ball and we just get to watch guys develop and build chemistry and camaraderie and make this new wave of culture. And I don't know where that's going to take us, but there was something about watching that game just like, are we going to beat the Lakers this year? Probably not, but I get to watch a lot of these young players have these opportunities and develop, and how many of those guys can they take with them as they go on the journey now. And so it's like, it's sad to lose Dame, but in a way, it's kind of like I don't have to be miserable during the NBA regular season anymore because I know this team might not be great, but I'm more concerned of how do they develop and what kind of things do they show us moving forward.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great way to look at it. And as much as I want to delay the inevitable, I think it's kind of where we got to go is where does this go? How does this go down? Like I said, everyone and their mom that I've run into down here is like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Well, just to go back to Scoop for 1 second before we go into that, just for 1 second, it's a reminder that we like basketball.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And we don't have to deal with the dumb stuff.
And that is what's so refreshing. Like watching that Summer League game, I was like, oh yeah, this is the thing I like.
This is the thing that we actually care about.
This is the thing that I actually care about. You get so wrapped up, especially on like Twitter, social media, Heat fans coming at you. You get like all of a sudden it becomes territorial and tribal. And all of a sudden, every Twitter exchange is about like your relationship with your father, and then also, you know what I mean, like
the fact that you want Florida to fall into the ocean.
Yeah, you want Florida to fall into the ocean. You know what I mean? You want an alligator on bath salts to chop it off at the Panhandle so it can like float away into the Atlantic Ocean. But like, it's we enjoy watching basketball. Yeah. That's why I'm here. And and then to transition into Dame, like I've been seeing all these people saying, and maybe it's true that like we should have traded him last year. We should have traded him 2 years ago. We should have traded him 3 years ago. Whatever people say. Like, he's requested a trade.
Yeah.
And they're going to make that happen. But we still got to watch him.
Yes.
Those 3 years. Like, I mean, there are assets that we don't have on our team that maybe we could have gotten last year, the year before, or 3 years ago. But for somebody, not to be dark or anything, or like overly like serious about basketball, somebody died last year. You know what I mean? And they got to watch Damian Lillard on their favorite basketball team for 2 more seasons. They got to see him go for 50. They got to see him go for 60.
Let's go for 71.
They got to see him go for 72 points.
Yeah.
They got to see that happen. They got to watch that happen on their team. And I think sometimes in this offseason stuff,
you lose track of it.
We really lose track of that. And like, it's good to remember that. And then watching that Summer League game was like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, we're here for the basketball.
That's the one that I keep bringing up to people.
Yeah.
Like, well, they should have done this. I'm like, I walked in the locker room after he did that, after he had that game. And the first thing he said to me was, you're not going to believe this. They drug tested me again. The second thing he said to me is, I should have gone for 90.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you probably could have.
I wouldn't trade that moment for anything.
Exactly.
I'm telling you this not as a media guy and not as like a fan guy, just like that is a personal experience for me. That I've told Dame personally.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell my kids I was here for this game.
Yes.
I was like that's my guy. Like that, I covered this game. I was talking to you before, during, and after, and your insane ass told me that you should have had 90
I should have gone for 90
when
points.
you had 71.
You'll remember that forever. And that happened because we didn't trade him away for whatever like Utah's package would have been 2 years ago. Even if they would have even done that, which they probably even, you know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know. It's. I think we lose sight of that. My nephew is like 8 years old, right? Mm-hmm. And he got to go see Dame he's a huge Trailblazer fan. He got to go see Dame a couple times, and he'll remember it because he was here. And that's important too.
Because he was old enough to
because
actually
he was old
remember
enough.
it.
Right, exactly. So that's important too.
And that's what gets lost in all of this. And that, like, let's kind of walk through it a little bit as far as like where things stand.
Yeah.
Because this is the same thing that I keep telling everyone else. I don't think this thing is happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
And as ugly as things have gotten, I think they may escalate. But the thing that I keep trying to remind everybody is, and this isn't to throw Aaron Goodwin under a bus,
right?
But it is his job he gets the 3%, to advocate for his client. I mean, you work in show business. You've got an agent. Doesn't care about anybody else. He's advocating for you to get the best possible thing for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not the Blazers, not the organization, not his teammates, nobody else. So,
and he's a small shop, so he's like especially like got to make sure things go right for Dame.
So the thing is, like, if he scorches the earth, he scorches the earth. He doesn't. That's what he has to do.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily reflect that Dame feels that the organization is dead to him, or that he hates everybody in the front office, or that he hates everybody in Portland, or that he's done with this city. If you came to me right now and there was a Vegas line on Damian Lillard returning to Portland, Oregon, either for the last year of his career or post-career, I would stake every penny I have on it.
Me too, absolutely. I think that's true, and I think I would feel betrayed by the front office, not by the city, and maybe like a little bit by the fans, just because I think he's somebody who does maybe pay too much attention for his own good to social media.
Years think about this for a split second. Damian Lillard is in the NBA city fandom. Giannis and him have had 90+% approval ratings from their teams from the jump.
Maybe, maybe 99. I mean, who until
it's 99. It's 99.
Yeah,
I'm playing it safe. I'm saying 90%.
Yeah.
So
the 10 is Lakers fans who live in Portland.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, and if you just take 5% of that away, 10% of that away, it has to just sound so loud in the sense of like, are they turning on me?
Yeah.
And that's not like the staggering majority of Blazers fans are still pro Dame and will ride and die for him forever. But it has been interesting to see some people be loud about what they think of Dame in this instance.
Yeah, but are they people that really need to be highlighted about being loud? You know what I mean? Like,
that's a different argument. But
I think touring America and he's like, I love Dame forever, and he's the GOAT Blazer or whatever. Like, that to me is louder than Joe Blow in the basement out in Troutdale, pissed that Dame isn't being loyal enough.
Troutdale always catches strays.
Well, I mean, come on, you got to. But I heard this the other day, and I thought it was a good point. It's like a Twitter headline is not actually concrete evidence of what's going on. Like, I'm sure there's differences here, but like, it's never. We make this so much more personal on social media than I think the stuff is really behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's purposeful by everybody involved, though. Because it becomes more visceral.
But I think leaking a headline is not the same of the current standing of relationship.
I would 100% agree.
James Harden just demanded a trade, and then he was partying with Joel Embiid at a party. Like, that's
he's also very different.
They're very different guys.
He is very different, but Embiid doesn't care either. So I don't think this stuff is as personal as we're making it seem on Twitter, and I think that's kind of the disconnect I have trouble with. Is I see a headline, it's like, oh, Dame hates the organization. It's like he's steering himself where he wants to go play. I don't know how much hate there really is behind some of that.
Everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
That's and everyone.
These are never clean.
And everyone's right to be doing what they're doing. Aaron Goodwin's right to be trying
scorching the earth and
doing
moving every mountain, every valley to get his client where he wants them to go.
And Cronin is right to sit there and say, the Heat are on the clock. I'm not on the clock.
Yeah.
I've got a player on a 4-year contract, and they have to make a decision about Kyle Lowry. They have like aging superstars. They lost 2 of their key players from last season.
Who walked away.
the Heat are on the clock.
Yeah.
So why am I going to capitulate? You know what I mean? To win some like PR war that is, going to like ebb and flow anyway. As like the
here's
entire
my
thing.
point on either side of this. I've heard people say, "Well, Joe Cronin, he's done poorly by Dame. He lied. He did all this, so he should send him to Miami for that deal."
Yeah.
If you believe that Joe Cronin failed Damian Lillard and that he was sabotaging this all along, why would he change his mind now?
Right.
Like, why is it like when it actually matters would he be like, you know what? I expended all that capital already. You know what I should do? I should mail it in now.
Yeah.
And take an offer that nobody in the league believes is remotely close enough.
He also doesn't work for Damian Lillard. I don't think Damian Lillard is cutting his checks. You know what I mean? I love Dame. I am the person who thinks he's the GOAT Blazer. Yes. I will be at his first game in Portland standing up and applauding. If I can be, you know what I mean? Like I will for the rest of my life love that man. And I'll root for him wherever he goes.
100%.
80 games a year. You know what I mean? Like 80 games a year I'll root for him. But, I'm a Blazer fan. So,
it's entirely fair.
And Joe Cronin works for the Portland Trail Blazers.
So what is he supposed to do?
What is he supposed to do in this situation?
And that's kind of where we find ourselves now. And so I keep. It's been very fun. I've done a lot of shows in Miami, and they're all like, "Oh, it's a done deal," and it's this and that. I remain steadfast in this. Damian Lillard is not going to Miami unless there's a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 team deal.
Yeah.
And in discussions with folks down here, that deal is not there.
Yeah.
What Miami has put on the table is not enough. What they're able to move other pieces for to get redirected to Portland is not enough. And the stuff that I've heard, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just not. So one of two things needs to happen. Either the Heat need to get significantly more creative, or Damian Lillard needs to add 2 more teams to that list.
Yeah.
And those 2 guys just need to make that happen. And Michael Holton is now sitting out here. taking a quick bow. Shouts to the GOAT, Michael Holton, at the window.
Holton on hoops. We get him in here. Get his take on things.
We should have dragged him in here.
He looked like he was on his way to lunch.
Yeah, he did look on his way to lunch.
You don't want to do
He had the quick walk. The buffet is literally right next to us, and it is banging.
Yeah.
But you look at this entire situation, and it's. I'll be bluntly honest. It's very weird for me.
Yeah.
Because we don't do this often in Portland. This is now every star has literally ended this way.
Yeah.
But we do it once every generation.
And it always feels weird.
But this is the first one we've had in the social media era.
Yeah.
Like LaMarcus did in 2015, but it didn't have this because it was that clean cut.
And he was a free agent.
He just walked away.
Right.
And the thing I will say, take to my grave, LaMarcus earned the right to leave.
Yeah.
You spent 9 years here. When you spend 9 years in the league and you become an unrestricted free agent, you have earned your right to do whatever you want to do.
If you just sign the qualifying offer, you know what I mean? Or if you you earn the right to leave. It's just a contract thing. It's literally every profession that has contracts.
Yes.
Is like that.
That's
You know
how
what
that
I mean?
goes. But the Dame stuff with the hyper volatility of social media and where everything kind of sits right now, it is personally hard to navigate.
Yeah.
Because I have relationships on both sides.
Yeah.
And I don't look at Dame like he's, just a guy that I cover. It's a guy that I talk to.
Right.
Like it's, just, it's there.
Yeah.
And it's very weird to be front and center for it because I have both things. Like I'll be blunt. I've told him this.
Yeah.
It is really weird for me to do this because I want you to go where you want to go. I want you to be successful, but I'm here, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to. This is going to sound terrible. I don't want to cover Tyler Herro.
I know what you mean.
I'm not trying to be a jerk.
Wait for that clip to get played around January.
No kidding. They're gonna show him that when he's a Blazer.
Yeah. Tyler Herro just comes up. Yeah.
I got nothing against the kid, but
he's gonna go for 40 points on 60 shots. He's gonna be in the locker room. You're gonna walk in. He's gonna say, "I should have gone for 90."
Yeah.
And then play that clip.
But the thing is, again, nothing against the kid, but I've got one of the 75 best players of all time, and you can't talk me into that being the replacement.
No, dude.
And even if you're like, well, he'll get redirected to a third team. I have yet to hear anybody come up with anything that is remotely viable in the sense of okay, now we're talking.
People are like, and again, this is Twitter, but this is also some journalists are trying to get people excited about, Jaime Jaquez and Nikola Jovic and everything. And I'm sure they're lovely people. and they're wonderful at basketball compared
And they're
to
probably
the general
rotation
population.
level players.
Right. We don't need rotation level players.
No.
We don't need a 20. We could have drafted either one of those guys. We had the picks.
Yes.
We don't what like that's not part of the it makes me feel insane. I feel like I'm being gaslit by the internet,
Yes.
by anyone who's like who wants Dame to go like directly to Miami no matter what. Like I feel like I'm being like lied to by everybody all the time. Like people are like Tyler Hero, the Heat were better when Tyler Hero got hurt in the playoffs. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, what? You like this guy who was, a rookie of the year, blah blah blah, isn't good enough for you?" It's like, dude, he wasn't good enough for you. What is going on here? Let's at least have a good faith conversation with each other. You know
exactly.
Yeah.
Brandon.
So, Danny, can I ask you real quick about
go.
that? Because I think it's interesting. One, I still want Jaime Jaquez as a Blazer if it does,
That summer league performance really got you going, didn't it?
He was good.
22 points in 22 minutes.
You loved it.
Amazing.
He also looks like somebody who'd be wearing like a very thin headband at Colonel Summers Park, like practicing tightrope walking.
Absolutely.
You know what I
God,
mean? Like
yes.
that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Like he would fit right in Portland.
The mustache.
Right.
It's that's what does it for him.
Sitting on the stairs in front of a store that sells like psilocybin playing acoustic guitar. Like he could fit right into Portland as a city.
I have seen a guy that looks exactly like him buy a single cigarette.
Right, exactly.
I know one of the guys that you feel kind of gaslit by, covers the team a little bit and is like, hey, just take the Miami offer and it is what it is. But I'm interested in your thoughts. He covers the team. Spencer's saying that it's going to take 4 firsts and a player. Like that's the thing kind of floating around today. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts because I know we hadn't talked since you got to Vegas and just kind of like what people are saying about that.
No, that is what it's going to take.
Yeah.
And
4 firsts.
The thing that I keep telling everybody is it's not just the number. Everybody's like, well, you're going to get like 5 firsts out of it. There's levels to this.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody who has worked in the NBA for a long time and has done star trades.
Yeah.
And he goes, when we were doing the trade, he gave us 3 places and he told us, look, here's how we can be amenable to stuff. And this isn't to say Dame needs to do this, but I think this is an interesting way to see how a front office has actually worked in this situation.
Yeah.
Give us 3 teams. The player told the front office, I'll give you 3 teams. Here's what I need. If the offer is equal in value, I get to choose. If the offer is better between 2 of them, you get to take the better offer.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And when it came down to it, the offers were essentially equal. And he picked between the 2 destinations, and it worked out for both parties because the front office and the other team drafted well. But the capital that they got back was not great. Now, the player was a little bit older, but it was a win for both sides. They could go sell to their fans, hey, he's X years old. He did this for us. This is what we got in return. They couldn't say it was the best offer on the table, but they say we felt like we got good value.
Right. And we sent this player to a place he wanted to be.
And every that relationship was still maintained post time he left.
Yeah.
I've been told that the Kevin Durant situation was very much the same. The Nets and KD still have an amenable relationship, but they were able to send him to Phoenix, and Brooklyn got back real value.
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges is a stud.
Oh, yeah.
They just re-signed Cam Johnson to a $100 million deal, and they've got a bevy of picks that make it sellable. And right now, the package that is out there, there's no pick that I can go, yeah, I'm counting up. And Heat fans are like, well, that 2030 pick, the Heat have missed the playoffs 4 times in 20 years.
Yeah, dude. Right, exactly.
And when they're bad, they've only bottomed out. They had like 15 wins, and I want to say was it 09? No. It was pre LeBron Heatles. There's 1 year in there where they had 15
was the year
wins.
where they drafted Michael Beasley the next year?
So they it was like
when Wade was hurt or something like that?
I'm losing track. Yeah, I'm losing track of years. 06, 07. No, Beasley was in the year after KD, so 07, 08.
Yeah.
But like that's the only time they've been bad. And so, okay, then fine. Give me the premier player.
Yeah.
And nobody can point me in that direction.
There's just not that one little thing.
Not with what they have, the Heat currently have to offer. Like you can't send Tyler Hero to Brooklyn, who sends 2 firsts to San Antonio for Jeremy Sohan and Keldon Johnson.
Right.
Like, Like that's not enough, because that first that you would think would be the valuable thing that's not good enough for San Antonio to give up so on.
It's a bunch of sides. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
just, like,
there's no main course.
Yeah, there's no main course. You're at Fogo de Chao, but they're not bringing the meat out.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're just going up to the salad
You got
bar.
that thing flipped to green, but they're not bringing the skewers.
I've had as much salad and those little cheese rolls as I can take, and
And
they're
don't get me wrong.
delicious. You need those.
Yes.
For a complete meal, you need those.
So,
Bring out the steak.
right?
It's got to be one piece of steak.
One piece of the bacon wrap.
And I think that's the hard thing, though, isn't it? It's like, who is the steak? Because, like, of all the rumors we've heard with all this stuff, like, I don't buy the Spurs. I think, why would they want Dame on this timeline? I don't know if that makes sense. Utah might be interested, but who knows where Dame sits with all that stuff. I don't think it's a one-for-one trade. I think you're right. Like, there's going to be a 3-4 team trade, but I think the hard thing and why it's so weird is, like, who is it? Who's going to step up in this thing and say, we'll take the hero platter with the Kyle Lowry special, and the Blazers take back this player or that player, or is Ben Simmons involved at all if the Nets jump in this thing? What's the draft capital? It's frustrating because right now all we have is this Miami trade that Portland clearly doesn't want to give in on.
Yeah.
So who's the other teams that are really going to look at this? There's been some Nets noise, but I don't know what it is. I want the steak too. I don't know who the steak is for them. And I think that's the hard thing.
Yeah.
And also why kind of like watching Scoot and Shaden, it's like I've kind of accepted the fact from my perspective they're going to lose this trade in the now. There's no other way around that. If the picks end up being great, cool, but Scoot and Shaden can kind of change everything, even with whatever those picks are from whoever they are. I just don't know who the other team's going to be that jumps in and tries to give us some stake.
On that point, I don't think there's a way the Blazers win the trade.
No.
But I think there's a way that they don't lose it.
Well, who has ever won a trade
In the
sending out
superstar?
a superstar? I mean, it feels like Phoenix got kind of
Utah?
close. Utah, Utah
Well,
twice.
Obviously, the Gobert one is the one where and everybody wants.
I
to say,
said a superstar.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Do you
That's true.
Slight delineation here. Do you feel like it's unfair that after Wembanyama plays one game, they called him Booty Gobert?
I think it's funny.
It's
That is a great nickname.
It's cold, man. I felt so bad for the kid.
I feel bad for him because of that. I also feel bad that like it's not his fault that the San Antonio security person, that Britney Spears ran up on him,
God.
and all of a sudden he's now incurring the wrath of a hive.
It went.
Anytime you're on the wrong side of I've been on the wrong side of a pop star hive
Oh
before.
no!
It was.
Which one did you poke?
I almost don't even want to say it at the risk that one of them hears.
Was
this.
it an insect?
It was not an insect.
Okay.
It was not a beehive. I would
Okay.
not. I'm not even on that stupid. It was an inadvertent K-pop situation. I got myself into an inadvertent K-pop situation.
Like international waters.
It was in international waters, and that is.
Yes.
Ooh, that's not fun. They just keep coming, and they're like kids, so they have time. So they're making like videos. You know what I mean? They have like creative. They were like really mean poems. They do research. Like it's
dig
an
in.
unpleasant process. Yeah.
So, but back to the trade stuff. I just had that squirrel moment for a second because I was like, God, that was good. But like, I felt bad for the kid. Genuinely, I feel bad for the kid.
He's gonna be all right.
I think so. He's got $40 million plus guaranteed. Yeah. So, but this whole thing, as far as like winning and losing trades, I don't think there's a world where Portland wins the trade either in value or in the PR side of things.
Yeah.
But you can not lose it.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the tangible asset. You can go, look, you want to look at a historical point for Portland, not trading superstars, but like when you can trade for something and screw it up and stumble into it.
Yeah.
The Blazers traded Mason Plumlee for a first-round pick, and the tax for that was taking Yusuf Nurkic.
Yeah.
Nurk was not like the prize.
Right.
The first-round pick was the prize.
Yeah.
Go back and watch the press conference between Brooke and Neil. First-round pick, and like, oh yeah, by the way, we got Yusuf Nurkic.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you get Nurk fever. It blows up. Nurk looks like a player, and you're like,
yeah.
But the tangible thing was like what he is selling.
He became so good that the Blazers curse affected him and he broke his leg.
And it's just, that's wildly unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of like, that was not a trade that they wanted to do.
Right.
But because you had something you could sell, it was like, oh, okay, I get this. To a smaller example, this last trade deadline, they moved Josh Hart out for a first-round pick.
Right.
Like, everybody's like, well, they should have kept Josh. Josh is going to get a 4-year, $80 million deal.
Yeah.
Like, we're recording this, but it may come out by then. Like he's opted in on the idea of like he's making money. So the Blazers made a move to preemptively say, hey, we got something out of this.
Right. We're not going to give him that contract, but we did get something out of this.
So we went and got Chris Murray. Like with this deal, you need to do that on a global scale.
Right.
You need to go, hey, we're not going to take the poo-poo platter from Miami, but hey, you want to work a 5, 6, 7 team deal where this team gets this team gets this team gets this. They all get what they want along the way. Fine. It doesn't matter. As long as we get what we want, which is value picks and a good young player. And there's a sliding scale to this because if the picks are better, the player doesn't have to be as good.
Right.
If the picks aren't as good, the player's got to be better.
Yeah.
But there is a dividing line of net return that the organization needs to get. Otherwise, bluntly, Joe Cronin will get Billy Kinged and he will not have a job.
Absolutely. I think he's aware of that. I think he knows that this is, I mean, it's a pivotal moment in his career.
And self-preservation alone.
Self-preservation. So like it's also informative to look at how the Damian Lillard situation happened and realize like how did we get here in the first place? It's by having one transcendent player who we just couldn't put a good enough package around. So now we've got these two really young players who could become players who, you know, maybe aren't as good as Damian Lillard. Maybe they are, but like who are like in that stratosphere, in that arena where it's
the
like,
potential you can get behind.
If you build around these guys, you can win a lot of games, like those kind of guys. So now, being in Portland, the city that can't attract free agents to save our lives, despite whatever people think that Cronin is doing to our reputation as a free agent destination, like this is the only way we can build. Is by bringing in drafts.
You've drafts and you trades. Those are your two main pipelines for Portland.
That's it. So it's so important. And like to nail this, I think Cronin knows that too. And I think that's why, and you alluded to this, I think this is going to go on longer than I think anyone really wants it.
Yeah, I've had people down here like, is it going to happen down here at Summer League? I'm like, I would be stunned.
Do you think there's a chance we go into the season?
That is not impossible.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. Is he going to be Daryl Morey on that? Is he going to stick to his guns on Ben Simmons, quote unquote, with Damian Lillard and say, hey, he's under contract. Like until I get the deal, I'm not shipping him.
Right.
And the other part of this is, you know, and I'm not trying to step on other people's reporting. Damian Lillard's not sitting out. He's not built like that. And that's not a shot at him.
Yeah.
He is a basketball. Like Kevin Durant was like, maybe he'd sit out, and it's like, no, he's not.
He loves it.
Say what you want about KD. KD is a hooper.
Yeah.
Through and through. Basketball is life. Like that ball is life. That is Dame. Dame is not going to put on the fat suit.
Yeah.
And go for wings at Magic City with Lil Baby. Like that's not
right.
Now he may go get wings at Magic City with Lil Baby, but it's after he just dropped 40 on somebody's head.
Right.
Like he
just spent 2 hours with Phil Beckner.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
He's going, yeah.
You know, and that's there's levels to this, and I don't say that because I'm calling Dame out or he wouldn't be willing to do this. He's just not built like that.
It would be shocking given everything we've seen from him for the last decade.
It
would be legitimately shocking.
You can gamble on this. You know that, right?
You can?
You can gamble on this. It was they said, will Damian Lillard sit out if he's not traded by the start? No is a minus 300. Yes is like a plus 250. So even Vegas is like, this isn't the kind of guy that
the yes should be like plus 5,000.
I could see him sitting out if he's in Portland.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You think after a trade demand, opening night,
if he's still on the roster, he's going to be a starting point
guard. God, that would be weird.
That would be so weird.
It's going to be. It would be weird,
so
but
weird.
I would bet it's a substantial amount of money that he would play.
Oh God, that's like when a couple still lives together because they've got like
separate
3 months
rooms
on their lease after their breakup.
Yeah, but he's a pro's pro.
Yeah,
he is. I think the other part of this too is the talent you're talking about getting back. Like if you get a Claxton, for example, I don't know why Brooklyn would do that, but if you've got a piece like that, then sure. You have to remember we already have the best two pieces. Scoot and Shaden are and not to disregard Ant, but you know, kind of when you're looking at the way it's built, it's Scoot and Shaden. So like even if they get some players back from multiple teams and not one of them pops to you as like, oh, young great superstar. I think because of the way the front office is built, Schmitz and company kind of eyeing development, eyeing what ceilings of guys are. I think it kind of recalibrates the way we kind of view some of these dudes that might get sent back in that trade. If there's not that one singular player that makes you get super excited about it. If it's a couple guys and then you look at Scoot and Shaden and you say, this is the future. Can these guys be instrumental role guys?
Mm-hmm.
I don't overlook that. Denver just won a title off of having very instrumental role guys,
Yeah.
right? Jokic was awesome. Murray's awesome, but they needed the Aaron Gordon trade. They needed to bring in KCP. Like, having guys around your guys is a big effing deal in this league.
As it pertains to Claxton specifically, like, that's the kind of player I think Portland would want.
Yeah.
But if again, that sliding scale, I don't think you look at him as like, oh, that's the guy. I think it's a guy that they like. If Hawkes is here and Jovic is here, I think Claxton is here. Like, there's a gap, certainly.
Yeah.
Like, he's a position of need. I think that not only a position of need, I think he's stylistically what they want, which is a pick and roll, rim runner, shot blocker, rebounder.
Because this team is going to be fast.
Yes.
This year. I mean,
they want to be long, athletic, run floor, spread things out. And they want a guy who gets out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to run plays for you. And when we do put you in the pick and roll, we've got guys that are going to find you, and you were going to throw anything down that we put
We
near
don't need the
rim.
next Nurkic.
No.
Yeah.
God
bless them.
Look, they just want to open things up and run. They want to put the pedal down, and like, that's what young teams do.
Yeah.
Let's break somebody's neck with pace,
Yeah.
overwhelm you with athleticism, and then the ability to just kind of blow you up in the pick and roll. And it's like, yeah, that's how you go about this. So that's the thing. Let's say it's they trade Dame and Nurk as part of this whole package, and you're able to move Claxton to Portland. Okay, now the picks can be a little bit less than they don't have to be Minnesota unprotected picks. It just, that's how this stuff's all going to work. And that's why this is going to take so long.
Right. Well, you're going to have to wait for teams. You're going to have to wait for, like, prospective teams out there to shift into a position where it becomes a good idea for them to get Dame. I mean, like, if it's going to take that, it might even take going into the season where, oh, all of a sudden Utah's better than they thought they were.
And like, oh, are we really like Damian Lillard away from like making real noise?
Right, exactly. Like, so should we go get that person? You know what I mean? Or does it, whatever that situation is. Like, is Philadelphia willing to try to get Dame and put Maxey in that, and then Maxey can go somewhere that then that team's willing to give up more picks? Like, you might have to wait for those blocks to shift into place. And again, not to like hit this again, but like Portland, it's fine for them to be in that position and wait on that. It's a little harder for the Heat.
Not only that, and this is the Portland side of things. If they reset, they're going young and they're going to lose games.
Yeah.
So like this whole idea of like, well, they need to trade Dame because they're going to lose games.
Yeah.
like that's already happening.
Yeah,
it's
the
there.
plan.
So like the leverage plays are there for both sides, but it's not. I don't think it's. It depends on what instance you're talking about with who puts their hand on the scale more.
Yeah.
And Danny, I think maybe you'd agree with this. It feels like kind of Ian and I'm not worried about the wins and losses. They're going to lose games.
Yes,
we know
100%.
that. To me, it's more without rushing to the bad deal. And now you're seeing these things leak out, right? Miami's kind of stuck in this in-between where they can't really do a whole lot in free agency because their eggs might be all in on the Dame basket.
They are.
Right?
That's where they are.
Desperation kind of leads to movement. And so maybe we get closer. I would lean, though, like, I kind of hope he's dealt before the season. Like, I don't want Scoot to have to come in to
It's
meet
better for all
me.
parties.
Better for everybody.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
No, God, no. I mean, selfishly, for you and I doing everyday radio, I don't.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
Dame watch going into the season, like, it's not good for anybody.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. And there's no chance he stays. There's no chance he stays and it gets worked out. Is there any chance that the team is also still looking at, like, okay, could we bring in other vets and build around this situation?
I don't think that's an active thing that's happening.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that it is truly impossible for him to come back.
Yeah.
As insane as that sounds. I'm fully aware of how crazy that sounds.
Right.
But I don't think that's
happened
entirely impossible.
It's happened in the NBA
It
before.
literally happened last year with Kevin Durant.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously he got traded later in the season,
when
case,
all sides come together and like, okay, look, man, it's not happening right now.
Yeah.
Things just need to change. And the change in that situation was Matt Ishbia taking control of the Suns and offering the whole enchilada.
Right.
So does some sort of change happen? Like you said, does a team look like, man, we really are, like, if we add Dame to this team, we're there.
Yeah.
Does that happen at the trade deadline? Now, Is that a really uncomfortable 4 months for Portland? Unquestionably.
Yeah.
But is that an impossible bridge to cross? No. But is it good for anybody? No. But this is the ugliness of the business side of this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our time here is coming to a close here at the Blue Wire Studios at the Wynn Casino. Shout out Ian Karmel for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
You've got one more date tonight, right?
Thanks for hopping on, Ian.
Oh, my pleasure. I got one more show tonight, and then I'll be up in Portland for between August 8th and the 21st. I'll just be doing gigs around town. I'll say what's up.
You got anything else going on?
Listen to All Fantasy Everything.
Yeah, plug it away.
And buy my book when it comes out next summer.
You've got your wife's stuff? You would have plugged?
Buy my wife's books right now. Go. Buy Anatomy of Love Story, Immortality of Love Story. Listen to Noble Blood. Listen to All Fantasy Everything, the podcast where we fantasy draft non-sports stuff. We just did Chips.
Ooh,
I got Tim's Cascade Jalapeno in the fourth round.
Oh, see, listen, that's my number 2, Tim's. I'm a salt and vinegar guy.
You're a salt and vinegar guy? It hurts my mouth.
I understand. I understand the takes, like this, the thickness of the chip and the salt and vinegar.
I got to come back on here, and we got to do we have to do like an all-time Blazer fantasy draft.
100%.
We should get one more person on, and we should knock it out. I can do it
with your permission instead of stealing your idea.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Unlike certain others. But all right, no, I'm not going to get into that. All right.
All right, guys, that'll do it for us. For Brandon Sprague, Danny Marang. You can find us on social media at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague, at Jack Ramsays. Email the show, jackramsays@gmail.com, at Ian Karmel.
At Ian Karmel.
Across all of the socials.
Anywhere you can find me. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
What is that like to be able to have link all of your socials? Because I have somebody squatting on my handles.
Do you?
Yeah. There's a guy who's been sitting on at Danny Marang on the IG stuff.
And like targeting you specifically. Like if you want it, come get.
I've sent him like 3 messages. Like, come on, dude. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, it feels elegant and luxurious to have my name on everything.
See, it comes with the chest hair.
Yeah, it does.
That'll do it for all of us. Thank you all so very much. Again, this is for consistency purposes. This is Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. So if news has changed in the meantime, as it pertains to other stuff, we're getting ready for the Shaden Sharp Victor Wembanyama game.
An emergency pod when Shaden Sharp dunks on Wembanyama so hard that he gets deported back to France.
I have to say this. It's recorded. A Blazers player has promised me that he is going to dunk on Wemby today. Oh, my God. So if it happens, we'll revisit it. Until then, everybody, take care. Ian, thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
The Spurs are going to have to get a hockey enforcer style power forward.
To protect him.
Just to have his back.